Points.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Broad Points Podcast. I am your host, the broad that points, the broad with the points. It's me, Tyler, the lady. I have returned from my trip to the Pacific Northwest. I was both in Seattle for just a very brief amount of time, and then we embarked on our journey to celebrate both my sister and niece's birthday. Yes, it is the same day, February 6th, in Mount Hood, Oregon. And so I had never been to Mount Hood, and I really thought that it was going to be a snowy wonderland because I know that it's mostly known for skiing and snowboarding and things of cold nature. And we totally lucked out. As people who don't snowboard or ski, we do enjoy the snow. It's beautiful. Not always great to drive in, but it's beautiful and a little fun to play in for a while. It really, everything in moderation, right? Especially the snow. And so it was actually clear, blue skies. It waited until after their birthday to start raining. So absolutely beautiful. Also, before we say anything else, say go Hawks, because the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. And, I feel like this actually will transition perfectly into the fundamental phrase for the day, but it feels like this has been long overdue this season. I put in a lot of hours. Dedicated a lot of hours, not just in watching the games, but listening to my beloved, Valentine. We just had Valentine's Day. Talk about it. So lots of hours, put into this season. And so it's fun to be champions at the end of it. Let's go. With that, let's jump into that fundamental phrase for the week. It is, you are what you repeatedly think. Yes, you are what you repeatedly think. Yes, what you think is so important. And why do I say this? Because you have the power over it. Yes, everyone, we can control our own thoughts. Crazy, right? I know, groundbreaking information here. But it is true. What we think, that's what we are. Truly, it influences how the voices in our head, right, or how we're speaking to ourselves, how we feel about maybe what we're saying to ourselves, and then ultimately how we act, right? How we show up in the world. What are we doing? What are we doing? It's all influenced by what we think. And before we go any further, I was just doing some more traveling. In case you guys haven't realized, I do a lot of traveling. I've always done quite a bit of traveling. My dad on this trip actually referred to me as a modern gypsy. A modern gypsy, my father called me. So, I do quite a bit of travel, at my leisure for my own will. Also, I've been working in the travel industry for 15 years. You guys, 15 years I've been actually a travel professional. And that's, something that I both think, speak, feel, and act. On, Monday through Friday, I'm acting as a travel professional. I'm also kind of acting as a meteorologist, which, maybe that's what I should pursue in my day-to-day, because I just really enjoy watching the weather. When I was in Alaska is actually where I first really started watching the weather, because you had to know if the planes were going to land. But ever since then, it is just so fascinating to just look and see what the heck is going on in the world, because it's always different. People want to say climate change or global warming or whatever, but the weather's just always different. It just is. There's always going to be water on the planet, and it's always going to be in different shapes and forms. So, it's fun to see what it's doing every single day. And, watching the weather is just always been, it's so much fun for me now, especially because it pairs well with travel. It helps to know what's going on with the weather, especially when you're traveling. And I was just on this trip, and I had multiple family members that had some travel hiccups, some travel dilemmas, if you will. And they didn't even think to reach out to me. You guys, if you have a travel question, I would be honored to answer them. I would, truly. Ask me a question. You can do it. I promise I don't bite. I've been doing travel for so long. Someone didn't actually come because they couldn't find the fare that they were looking for. And had they asked me to assist them, that could have been secured, honestly, months in advance. It's tip for you here on the podcast is that it's better to book your air further in advance. If you can do it outside of 6 months, you're going to get the best rate imaginable. Outside of 3 months, it's better if, it's not a hot market. And inside of a month, you're screwed. So try and book your flights further out. Further out for flights is better. Oh, goodness. I digress. Anyways, I believe, right, that I'm a travel professional. That is how I show up in the world. It's part of who I am, truly, right? And not only those thoughts, right? I think even more so we can dig deeper and look into the speak. And this was something that I think is often missed when people do like CBT because it's thoughts, feelings, actions, right? However, when you put speak in there, your thoughts cause you to speak to yourself. It allows you to ask just a few more questions, like, what are you saying? What are you saying to yourself after you have that thought, right? Maybe you run something over with your tire and you're like, I just ran something over with my tire. Well, then how are you speaking to yourself about how you ran over that tire, right? Maybe it's not even your voice. Who is saying it? Who is talking to you after you have the thought that you just ran something over? Maybe you have a little bit of trauma. Maybe you have a little bit of PTSD where if something happens and someone else's voice starts talking to you, it's good to recognize that, right? And also, if it's not someone else saying it, how you are saying it really makes a difference. When people say it's not what you say, but it's how you say it, so real. Take the time to recognize the tone, the cadence, the speed, all of the things. Just pay attention. Attention, awareness, you guys, awareness. And the fun thing about this is once we're noticing how we're talking to ourselves, we have the option to change it. Oh my gosh, yes. With awareness comes choice, and not only choice, but conscious choice. We are allowed to make conscious decisions once we have all of the information. And I don't know about you, but I like to have all of the information. Let's be real though. Sometimes we don't have the time. We don't have the time to dissect everything and try and rework it. And sometimes we tell ourselves stories and those stories don't really stick, right? I don't know if you ever heard the phrase, fake it till you make it. It doesn't always work. And sometimes it can lead to, I don't know, even some unnecessary stretching, we'll call it, pain even. Don't push past pain, whatever you're doing, especially if you're doing a physical workout. Don't hurt yourself. Push yourself, but don't hurt yourself. So, another way to approach, let's call it conscious change here, is deciding how we want to show up, right? What is the action that we would like to achieve? And I actually did a really fun self-nurturing workshop this week, and she just had us straight up in the moment just stop and write down everything that we need to do. Everything. If you have time, pause this podcast, find a pencil, and I encourage you to write down everything that you need to do. Now that you're back, she also told us this really fun thing that I'm excited to practice. It's really just fun to see things drawn out. I actually had a friend at one point in time, we were working at Starbucks together, and they're very regimented, very rigid about this is when everything will be done, this is how everything should be done, these are the standards, these are the procedures. It's very efficient. And my friend said, I would love to have my life laid out like that. How nice would it be to just have your life laid out like that? Just to know that however often you need to do this and that you need to do this and just have it all scheduled. And that always seemed appealing to me, but I wasn't fully sure of how to put it into practice until I was in this workshop. And so shout out to just continue your education. If you think you know it all, you don't. Keep learning. I encourage you to keep learning, and no matter what field you are in, because in this lesson, she had a plan, and it had a daily plan, a weekly plan, a monthly plan, a quarterly plan, and a yearly plan. And it had all these little boxes, and so you can put whatever you want to do for daily self-care, for weekly self-care, for monthly, quarterly, annually. What do you want to do? You can fill it in and just have this schedule on one page. Oh my gosh, one page. Okay. Related, unrelated, I just bought a printer, and Matt is not entirely impressed with it. When it showed up, he was like very confused. He wasn't impressed that I called it an us purchase, I guess, more than anything. But, it's nice to be able to print things. And, this page, maybe you have a printer, maybe you don't. You can actually print stuff at Walgreens or Staples. You can go online, just upload your thing. They'll print it for you. It's like basically no dollars. But I was tired of that. I kind of have a lot of things to print as an artist and a coach and all these things that I do, travel professional, right? So I wanted a printer. So I bought a printer. But now I can print this list out, and I can have the things that I want to do for self-care. And for me, this think, speak, feel, act applied to self-care is something that it's just so important. The more that we take care of ourselves, the more that we can show up for others and take care of others. Without doing that, we do not have anything in our glass to share. We have nothing. And that's when we start to feel depleted and resentful and all of these things. And so self-care is important. And so to take the time, and if you're feeling like this is something that's calling your name, do it. Take the time and write it out and decide how you want it to look for yourself. And maybe actually I'll even post something with this on my social media. We'll plug social media right here, right now. You can find me at Broad Points or at Tyler the Lady. That's where I'm going to share this, I think, in the post about this episode, because it's really fun. And if you don't have social media and you would like a copy of this, please email me, broadpointspodcast@gmail.com. And I will provide you this, because self-care is so important. To have it actually on a schedule, to have it just all laid out, it makes it so much more approachable. For me, my thoughts about self-care when the very first prompt was like, what comes up for you when you think of self-care, was I'm overwhelmed by my self-care. I don't want to be overwhelmed by my self-care. Self-care is supposed to calm you and center you and make you feel good about yourself. And feeling overwhelmed usually leads to anxiety and stress, and that's not really how I want to feel, right? That's not really how I want to feel. And my action is kind of inaction. I do get a little bit avoidant. when it comes to that. And so to be able to recognize that that was what I was thinking, and then instead of being like, well, how do I want to think about it today? Because that's obviously not working all of the time. What's another way to do it? Multiple roads to the same destination, you guys. How do you want to do it? Because once I had it all laid out of, I want to braid my hair, once a week. That's a fun little self-care thing, right? I want to be able to paint my nails. Maybe that kind of has to be twice a month, but we could put it on like weekly or bi-weekly, just have it all laid out on one sheet of paper. It makes it so that I want to do it. And that makes it so that I have more to share. And that is just the beautiful part of self-care. The more you take for yourself, the more you have to give. So give to yourself. Give. And in addition to that, by giving, one of the things that was actually on my plan is to consistently apply to exhibits and places where I can have, networking and exhibit opportunities for my paintings and for my creations. And so with that, I have 2 upcoming events. The first event is on February 19th of 2026. It is in Riverside. Both events are actually in Riverside. This first one is at the Riverside Administrative Council building, and that is from 3 to 5 p.m. It is the closing reception for that exhibit. I have 4 pieces in there. I've been very honored to share them over the last, we'll call it about 6 months or so, and there will be a silent auction at the end of that, so this could possibly be your last chance to see these 4 pieces before they are sold. So come check that out. If you're not available on a Thursday to drive out to Riverside, I get it. It's tough. It's tough. And sometimes we can't do that. However, I also have another exhibit. This one, the last one before I say this, was called an Artscape. It was the Riverside Artscape from the Riverside Artists Council that was putting that on. So thank you to them for the opportunity to have those paintings displayed there. Moving on to the next one, on the 21st of February, in 2026, I cannot believe it's 2026, at UCR Arts campus, there will be an Artposium. Yes, at the Artposium on Instagram is displaying 2 of my pieces there. I just posted a little video of me mounting them where I actually stabbed myself in the thumb. But, blood, sweat, and tears went into those paintings. And so I would love it if you came by and checked them out at the UCR Arts campus. And I will be there, I believe, from 11 a.m. until about 4:30 p.m. So come on by, check it out. I have shared it on my Instagram. And I'm just so excited. Thank you at the Artposium for giving me this opportunity, and they seem like they're going to have a lot of really fun classes and networking events. So really, if you're an artist in the area, come by, check it out. Multimedia. It's not just paintings. People are going to be singing and dancing and all sorts of things. I'm very excited to see for myself what this event holds. If you happen to need some shoes when you're walking around these events and you want to support me, yes, pay me when you buy them, try out some Xero shoes. They're the minimalist shoe with a wide toe box that really, I just love them so much. I just wore them when I was up in the Pacific Northwest pretty much every day. I'm going to go to the gym after this. I'm going to wear them there too because they make trainers. I really love my 360s. I got them in Lunar, which I thought was going to be white, but it's actually gray. So just if you're going to make that purchase, know they're really gray with a gum bottom sole. I love them. They're super comfortable. They make me feel very secure. I love to run in them and just kind of do everything. I mean, I even have casual shoes. My Dylan leather slip-ons, timeless, I tell you. If you would like to buy yourself a pair, use my Xero affiliate link. It's Xero with an X, xeroshoes.com/go/Tyler the Lady. And I said it before, and I'll say it one more time here at the end. If you want to follow me on social media, if you want to reach out, if you want to find that plan, all right, at Broadpoints or at Tyler the Lady. That's also where I'm sharing all of my exhibit information. So continue to follow me on there. I'm working to get some new pieces out as well. And so we'll have more footage. More footage will be found. If you don't use social media, again, please email me broadpointspodcast@gmail.com. And one more time, I say let's wrap it up with that fundamental phrase for the week. You are what you repeatedly think.